Dungeons and Dragons, Lost Mine of Phandelver, Dungeon Master Guide, here we go again. Another topic, working my way through Phandelver. I'm sure that could take a very long time. There's quite a few NPCs in Phandelver, if you're not aware. But first, I need to watch an ad on Grammarly. Oh, that's very interesting. And thank you very much, I've learned enough. Okay, alright, my sound check is completed. I'll just pull out my plug. Cool. All right. That's done. Now, if you're re-watching the live stream, you will find the start time is down there in the description for those of you who want to skip past all of my setup and just giving people time to jump into the room. Now, if you haven't watched my live streams before, normally what I do is I present everything first. Once I've presented everything, I then open it up for questions and answers. Feedback. If you have something you want to add, we'll do all of that in the live stream near the end. If you wanted to say hi to me, you're welcome to do so, and generally have a discussion. And I will make it clear that I will often open up the discussion at the end of my live streams to something other than the topic that I'm talking about. So if Toblen Stonehill is not the topic you want to talk about, don't worry about it. How long will this take? I think about 15-20 minutes. But as I have said before, I'm always a little bit out in terms of my timing. So let's get started anyway. Hi, welcome to HowtoDandD. My name is Fred Wheeler, and today I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons. And we're talking about Dungeons and Dragons 5e. I'm specifically going to be discussing the Lost Mine of Phandelver. This is a Dungeon Master's guide. It's not a player's guide. So if you are a player in the game, this is the adventure video that you do not want to be watching. I've got plenty of videos. You're welcome to go and check them out. But your Dungeon Master won't be too happy if you start watching all of the Dungeon Master guides. So leave that alone. Now, I've got plenty of videos on the topic, so this is not the only one that I have made. There's a big, huge playlist. Okay, we're talking about one particular character from Phandalin, and that is Toblen Stonehill. So, Toblen Stonehill of Stonehill Inn. Toblen Stonehill is the proprietor of Stonehill Inn. He is the innkeeper, essentially, to make it really simple. He's a short fellow, friendly, a young human male. And he's a native of Tribor. Now, Tribor is a town to the east of Phandalin. So if you make your way along the Tribor Trail, you will eventually get to Tribor, the township. It's not on this map, but it's not far from the Sword Coast. Now, he came to Phandalin, Tomlin came from Phandalin because he was trying to prospect. So he came to Phandalin to prospect for rare metals and minerals. He soon realized that he knew more about managing an inn or a business than he knew about mining, and so he took out a loan to set up his business. You will find the location of Stonehill Inn is pretty much in the center of town, not too far from the town green, for those of you who are unsure of the location. On the map, it's essentially just below Barthen's Provisions. Now, Phandalin offers a good opportunity as a new town for somebody who's establishing an inn. And essentially, the only inn in Phandalin is the Stonehill Inn. So it's going to do pretty well. There's no competition. Therefore, most things that don't have any competition will do pretty well in any kind of town. And it's a growing town as it is. This is a modest inn. The Stonehill Inn is modest. It has about 6 rooms to rent. That's at a cost of 5 silver pieces per night. For those of you who are interested in staying at the Stonehill Inn, you certainly can. If the party decide to stay there, that's the cost per room, not per person, but per room. So if they decide to have multiple individuals staying in a room, they might find themselves sleeping on the floor, particularly if you have a large party. If they have Sildar Hallwinter with them, if they manage to rescue Sildar Hallwinter, Sildar Hallwinter will rent one of those rooms for himself with credit provided by Haben Wester, who is the town master. Tomlin will agree to this simply because the town master is quite wealthy and has the money to front up should Sildar request it. And he certainly will front up with the money. Tomlin is not a greedy individual or man. He's actually fair-minded. He's a good businessman. He does things above board. He doesn't sort of take people for a ride or anything like that. And if you are buying anything from him, so the Stonehill Inn charges standard rates for food, drink, lodgings. All of those rates are at a modest level, which you will find in the player's handbook on page 158. So just check out 158 of the player's handbook and it will give you all of the information that you require for a modest rate of purchase. Currently, Tomlin has a little bit of an issue, like many of the Phandalin townsfolk, and it's been weighing on his mind quite a bit. But Tomlin is currently upset that the Redbrand thugs are being allowed to terrorise the town of Phandalin, and the townmaster, Harbin Wester, has done absolutely nothing to stop it. As far as Tomlin knows, Harbin Wester has done nothing. What they don't know that there has been discussions taking place to actually try to correct the problem. It just hasn't been successful so far. Tomlin currently pays the Redbrand's protection money to avoid trouble and sabotage to his business. He also, I think the primary issue for him is fear that the Redbrands might harm his family or take his inn. But more importantly is harm his family. He does not want to stir up any trouble for this gang because they are a nasty piece of work. Tomlin has a wife called Toblen Stonehill, and she deals with most of the cleaning and cooking that the inn requires. Toblen Stonehill is a sweet, friendly, practical wife who speaks her mind, and she does not actually fear the Redbrands, but she does understand the realistic situation that has taken place in the township. She knows that it's under threat and that realistically, without somebody who is capable of dealing with the gang, there's not much else that can be done. Tomlin will not ask for help from the party whatsoever to deal with the Redbrands. He might talk about them, but certainly not a lot. But Toblen is a different story. Toblen might hint to the party that it would be really helpful if they were to eliminate the Redbrands, but it will be in a roundabout manner. It won't be in a direct manner. She's more likely to drop a subtle hint rather than blurt it out. Because one, she knows that would upset Tomlin, and she doesn't want to do that. She understands where he's coming from. Pip Stonehill is the son of Toblen Stonehill. So Pip Stonehill was born very young, when Tomlin and Toblen were very young. So he's actually in the range of about 8 to 10. So I would say, you would say that Toblen and Tomlin were probably around 16 when they had Pip. Pip is your average young boy who spends most of his time exploring the local area with his friends. He will actually know quite a bit of secret information should the player's characters decide to ask him. And he is forthcoming with information just because he doesn't have quite the same filter that the adults do. So if you want to get information out of him, there is a rumour that he can drop later on. So what will Toblen Stonehill tell the player's characters? There are certain things that he will tell them and certain things he will not tell them. First off, he will be forthcoming with any information regarding the Redbrands in terms of where they frequent or hang out. The Redbrands hang out at the Sleeping Giant Tap House, which is a tavern, so he will certainly tell them about that. He will warn them to be careful around the Redbrands, that they can be a bit rough. He won't go into any more detail other than that. What about if the player's characters or Sildar Hallwinter asks about Iano Elbrick? Well, unfortunately, Tomlin doesn't actually know that individual at all, because Iano really didn't spend enough time in Phandalin for anybody to figure out who the heck he was. Therefore, Tomlin and his family don't know enough to be able to be helpful, unfortunately. Tomlin does not know who the Black Spider is if they ask about the Black Spider. He doesn't even know of the Black Spider's or Nesnar's existence whatsoever. So there's no information he can provide with regard to that. He will not talk about HowtoDandD being murdered, but even though Tomlin won't speak about HowtoDandD being murdered, Toblen Stonehill will mention it, and openly. So if you want to drop that information, you certainly can by using Tomlin's wife, Toblen. Tomlin is currently aware of the Rockseeker brothers. In terms of how much information he knows, it's not completely clear from the adventure, and as far as I can tell, I would imagine it would be pretty slim information, considering that the dwarves aren't the sort of individuals that would hang out at an inn. They're more likely to be camping by their mining site. So Tomlin's awareness of the Rockseeker brothers is only that they are mining, doesn't know where they are mining, and really does not know more than that. That's about it. If the party start asking questions about Cragmore Castle and its location, Tomlin and his family can't provide them with any information regarding the location of Cragmore Castle because he doesn't know where it is. And to be honest, Tomlin doesn't really know an awful lot about the Cragmore tribe, the group of goblins that reside in the area. He knows they exist, but he doesn't know an awful lot of it more beyond that, simply because he doesn't frequent the roads or the area around Phandalin enough to be able to find that sort of information out. It would be way too dangerous for him to do so, and hence it doesn't take place. What about other threats? Does Tomlin know about other major threats around Phandalin, such as Venomfang or Agatha? Might know a little bit about Agatha, but really very, very minimal. Really does not know very much about Old Owl Well or any of the other things that are taking place. Would be only mildly aware of orcs and the location, and that's about it. So not a lot of additional information that Tomlin can provide. He's really there as a jumping point to allow for someone to man the inn, have a voice, basically rent a room, and then really you pick up all of your rumours from Stonehill Inn from other people or patrons who visit the inn or visit the bar that's there. There is a bar, if anybody is wondering. And as it happens, they have a barmaid. Toblen Stonehill hired Elsa as a barmaid to help out Toblen with the general work that needs to be done in the inn itself, but she also mans the bar, serving drinks when it's required, serving food, things like that. And Tomlin has been pretty happy with Elsa's work. She's friendly. I wouldn't say she's a standout character. You don't have to put a lot of work into her. Just run it as your standard barmaid, or do whatever you want. As with all of my videos, you do not have to listen to what I have to say when I present these. Okay, so what happens if the party start going murder hobo or a bit crazy or a fight takes place? Well, Tomlin is not a warrior, but he will protect his family if somebody threatens them, and that's really about it. If he's forced to do so, then you're going to use the commonest stat block. He's not worth any experience points to the player's characters if they decide that they think that would be fun or funny to dispose of the innkeeper and his family, which I would think would be appalling. But I am aware that some dungeon masters will experience groups of players who are clearly still playing video games or have really had far too much going on in their life that they're frustrated about, and they decide to let it loose on your game. So just use the commonest stat block if a battle erupts for whatever reason. Let's hope that doesn't take place, but you never know. Sometimes it does. So that's everything I have on Toblen Stonehill Now, I will be doing another video on the Stonehill Inn for those of you who are wanting me to talk about the rumours and so forth, but I feel like that's another topic in itself and I don't want to get mixed up with that. I just wanted to focus on the innkeeper and then move on to a separate video for Stonehill Inn and getting all the other bits and pieces you might want from that. So if you found this video helpful and informative, great. Please share and like the video. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Hit the bell button to be notified when I do a live video like this, or I publish a new video, which I do quite often. Now, if you want to help support my channel, you supported my channel by watching this video, and I have to say thank you very much. I have hundreds more videos, and you're welcome to go and check them out. There's bound to be something you'll find useful. I have a playlist for the Lost Mine of Phandelver. It's a Dungeon Master's Guide, so if you want to go and check out those, there's plenty of topics there, bound to be something you'll find useful. I don't do Patreon and don't plan to for 2019. But I do have affiliate links to the book depository and Amazon where you can buy stuff online. I get a small commission. You pay exactly the same price as you would from Amazon or the book depository. It doesn't change anything, and it helps support the channel, particularly if you don't have time to watch a lot of my videos. Anyway, this is your opportunity to ask questions, give feedback, maybe give your perspective. It might be slightly different to my own, which is perfectly fine. Now, or just say hi. You can always say hi. That's what the live chat box is all for right now. If you're not part of the live chat, fortunately, YouTube has provided us with a comment section, and you can put your feedback down in the comments if you weren't part of the live stream. And that is all I have for today. And I'm going to say, till next time, keep rolling those 20s. Okay, I'm not gone, but I need a drink of water. And I also need to flip the camera back onto my face. Well, onto my face, because you haven't been seeing it. I'm not a voice and no face. There is a face. I just need to get myself into position, line myself up a little bit, and in the center is kind of helpful. Oh, it's cut off the head a little bit, but who cares? Doesn't matter. Let's go to the live chat. Okay, what have we got here today? All right, how's it going, Darren? Happy Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, well, it's Sunday for me. And as it happens, Darren, yesterday was my last day of work with Mitre 10. I am now free. I am free. No more Mitre 10, no more retail. And I get 3 weeks. I get 3 weeks of holiday before I go and start my new job as a building and construction tutor for Vision West. So I'm planning to have as much fun as I possibly can and get a few things I couldn't get done before. Des Nuts, how's it going? LMoP, I'm not sure what that means, but I'll go with it. Popit. Hello. How's it going, Des? The cart of videos. Yeah, I'm here. Yes, you are. Welcome to the stream. What's that? Cart of videos? Oh, there are spoilers. I'm out. Yeah, you got to get out, man. Do not hang around for spoilers. Okay, Darren. I enjoyed the videos, Fred. Very informative. Oh, I'm glad it was helpful, Darren. I really do appreciate you showing up for my live streams. I know that as a general rule, it's probably a crazy time of the day for you. I try really hard to time it so that I can pick up as much of my audience as I possibly can, and a time of the day when the sun is not going to hit me and just wash me out, which can happen sometimes. The Desk Knight. How's it going, the Desk Knight? Welcome to the stream. What's that, Dan? Darren, excellent news, Fred. Yes, yeah, I'm really pleased about it. So, since there don't seem to be any questions regarding the Lost Mine of Phandelver or Toblen Stonehill or any other questions regarding being a dungeon master, which I'm happy to answer, provided people are quick about it, because I'm going to leave very shortly, I was going to tell people what's going on. I did put up on the community tab that there is a new Dungeons & Dragons 5e starter set, and it just happens to be a Stranger Things Dungeons & Dragons 5e starter set. It has an adventure in it from basically the same adventure that Mike from Stranger Things ran for the guys, the kids, in the TV show. I'm quite excited by this because it does mean it will push it to the forefront of being popular culture, which I knew was going to happen. It was only a matter of time. I think a crossover into that is, it's not unexpected. I actually am quite pleased by it. Will I do a review on the product? Absolutely. It will probably be a topic that I will talk about a lot, but I still need to get through The Lost Mine of Phandelver. It is going to be the new starters box set, so why would I not talk about it? But I also need to run it. I feel like if I'm talking about something in terms of how to dungeon master it, it's probably best if I actually run the adventure myself first. What's that, Darren? I'm looking forward to the new starter set box. Yeah, I am too. I actually think it's really smart move. Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro have been doing a few things I know that have upset people, but it is essentially making this hobby survive. And you have to understand that bringing in Stranger Things into Dungeons and Dragons, even Magic the Gathering, are all things that Gary Gygax would have done with popular culture. If he was still alive and he was running Dungeons and Dragons, the franchise, then he would, and licensing it, if he had control, creative control, he would be picking up on anything that he could pillage. And that includes the King Kong, Skull Island, Godzilla movies, all of those sorts of things would wind up being turned into an adventure of some kind. So I think it's actually perfectly fine. And the fact that it's done without winding up in court, because I'm sure that Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast have talked to the creators of Stranger Things to make sure they get permission to do it. So I think that's all good. Angus, what's that? Gemender. Angus Gemender, how's it going? Running first session of Lost Mine of Phandelver for my party today. Oh my gosh. So I have an adventure, not an adventure, I have a video on how to bring the players into the adventure so they know Gundren Rockseeker a bit more. I think it's who is Gundren Rockseeker and why would I help Gundren Rockseeker? So if you have time, check those out because it might help flesh it all out so that they have a really good motivation for helping Gundren once he gets captured, which of course we know he's going to get captured. It's planned out. That first encounter with the goblins is rough. So all the best with that, by the way. What's that, Darren? There was a Diablo starter set back in 3E days too. Okay, well, I see, makes perfect sense. They are trying to link it in with things that other people are playing to try to pick up those individuals who might be interested in playing Dungeons and Dragons. And I think it's all good. So yes, Diablo, yeah, why not? Angus, what's that? Excellent, thank you. You are welcome. Hey, all the best with your first session, by the way. Okay, now I wanted to not just talk about the new Stranger Things Dungeons and Dragons 5e starter set. I also wanted to talk about, and I will get to you, Chris, in a second. I also wanted to talk about the fact that because I'm on holiday, the content that you see might be slightly different. So, and that might be only for 3 weeks while I'm playing, because I want to play for 3 weeks rather than it be a chore. So you're still going to see the Dungeon Master's guides on the Lost Mine of Phandelver. Next week you'll get your Dungeon Master Q&A, which is open for all Dungeon Masters to ask whatever questions they like. I'll make that, I do that once a month, and that'll be for February, which is a week from now. So it will still occur, okay? I might not focus on doing live stream character class videos quite so much. And my rationale for doing that is simply because it's more work for me and less fun, but I have a lot of pre-recorded stuff, and the chances are I'll get bored at night because I'm not at work or driving for an hour or two, and I will probably edit those things and release them. Instead, what I want to do is, because I'm going to go out and enjoy my summer, go to the beach, go into the bush, just explore, I'm going to take my camera with me. So you're going to get to see my real adventures. Rather than me talking about my adventures, you will actually get to see what New Zealand is like, because I will take my camera with me and I will shoot a few short videos just showing you some of the stuff that I come across. And I thought you might find that interesting, and you might have some ideas come from that, which allows you to tie it into your own adventure. There are quite a few unusual and bizarre things in New Zealand, and just, think about it. It's the place where Lord of the Rings was made, and they did not use a matte painting. The landscape that you see is real. So why not show you some of it? Now, I'm in the North Island, not in the South Island, so snow-capped mountains are probably not going to be taking place. I would have to go quite a long distance south, and even if I did go to the colder parts of New Zealand, they're not really covered in snow right now. Anyway, but I thought I would share that with you. I'm also going to probably spend, since painting is not an option, it's too hot, too humid, I'm going to do a lot of modelling. So that's putting miniatures together and building them from scratch. So you'll see quite a lot of that, because I would imagine at the end of the night I will get bored and I'll turn the camera on and I will make stuff, because that's what I do with my hands. Okay, so that's what's likely to happen. You still get your Dungeon Master guides, you'll still get your Q&A a week from now. You'll still probably get some character class stuff, but it'll be edited videos if I do. But you will get quite a lot of me just going and having a good time and showing you the stuff that I come across. Okay? And a bit of crafting. I don't know what the frequency of videos will be. It will just depend on what I feel like doing, I guess. We'll see how it goes. You might get more, you might get less. All right, let's go to Chris's question, because Chris had a question. Chris Collins. Here we go. I just got home from session 0 for Lost Mine of Phandelver today. All new players, DM, so far so good. Hey, that's great news, Chris. I'm kind of interested how it's all going, Chris, in terms of your session 0. Did people build their characters so that they are linked together? Did they make sure that everybody knew Gundren Rockseeker? Or are they starting sort of, rough and ready, in a tavern we meet and we get a job and now we're hired to look after a wagon? I'm kind of interested how that's going, Chris. All good, Fred. Love your videos. Hey, thank you very much. I will remain and probably continue to remain a very small channel. I know I have 8,000 subscribers, but you have to understand 8,000 subscribers does not translate into that many people watching my channel, because the stuff I do is a little off center. It's not your standard stuff. Okay. Okay, Darren, what do you got here? Good luck, Angus. Have fun and take it easy. Fred has a ton of useful information for new DMs. Yes, I do. I would like to point out that even though I do provide advice for Dungeon Masters and players, not everything there is for you. Sometimes that's just how I run the game or play the game, and it's perfectly fine for you to do something different. But you're not going to change the way I operate at my table. We all do it differently, right? Okay, Chris. New Zealand seems beautiful. I'm in Dallas, Texas, okay, and it's meh. Why is it meh, Chris? I'm kind of curious, because I thought Dallas was sort of had, big broad deserts with really unusual rock formations, and it sort of struck me as a really wide location. You've got a state that looks after its people, because it allows for buildings. Buying homes there is not expensive, as far as I know, because from what I've heard. So it seems like a good place to be. So I'm kind of curious, but you will get to see some of New Zealand. Richard Young, So for those of you who are wondering how am I getting through the live chat, I will get through there. Don't worry, I'm not going to fall behind. So Richard Young, what do you got here? Finally finished drawing Echo Wave Cave now. It's time to start colouring it. Damn thing is 5 foot, oh dear, 5 foot by 6 inches to 7 foot by 2 inches. Richard, I totally understand your frustration at that. I have a desire to draw the maps for the Lost Mine of Phandelver, so I can place out all the miniatures, but I also realise that Wave Echo Cave is so big that you would have to sort of like split it in half, or you need to have a really big piece of paper. I don't even know how I would actually film it with my camera because some of the locations are so big. And Wave Echo Cave is pretty large. Well, it sounds to me, Darren, that Richard has hand-drawn this thing rather than used a digital version. So, yes, if he's drawing it, unless maybe he's drawing it digitally. Oh, good point. I hadn't thought about hand-drawn. There it is. I see it just below. Should have read a bit further down. Yes, Richard's gone hand-drawn. I think the idea of hand-drawn is quite fun. It would be nice to just be able to print them out, but I'm not sure I can deal with the cost right now. Not that much money floating around. Chris Collins, we use the background. Okay. All right, good, cool. What's that? G-A-O. Okay, all right. The background. I'm not quite sure what G-A-O is supposed to mean. But anyway, I'm sure you'll let me know if you get a chance. Richard Young, I did all of the maps in the booklet to scale. Oh my god, you drew every single map to scale, Richard. Oh, I really want to do that myself, but it's going to be so time consuming. I just can't see myself finding enough time to get it done. And if I did, it would have to be, I would probably live stream it and do it as a behind the scenes DM. I live stream everything, right? Everything I do just about get live streamed. Darren's impressed. I know I am. Chris Collins. Goals, things, we will tie them with the NPC. Okay, all right. Goals. Yep, cool. All right, now I get it. Just lost the L. Well, I think that's good. I think it's good if the characters that you have created have goals and they are tying to the patron, Gundren, and the other players' characters. I think that's a really good way to go. Darren, that sounds awesome, Richard. Yeah, it does. It does sound awesome. Okay, Richard Young. Walmart has 1/2 inch white grid cardboard paper. It's dirt cheap and works great. Well, that's good. I don't have Walmart in New Zealand, but if you have a Walmart in the United States, or I don't know if Walmart exists in Canada, maybe it does. I know other places around the world probably will not have a Walmart. They might have something else. I have looked for gridded paper that I could use to draw it all out so I don't have to draw a grid. My only problem has been that it's New Zealand and we just don't get those sorts of things. I would imagine the same thing will apply to some parts of Europe and South America or even Asia. I would imagine might have a little bit of trouble with that, which I would imagine was kind of strange because just about everything is being manufactured in Asia or China, so Taiwan, China. So yeah, who knows? Travis Porter, how's it going, Travis? It's been a while. Not standard is okay, as I commented on the last video, which I didn't catch live. Not problem. Glad. I'm glad to hear that, Travis. I enjoy hearing yours, others' thoughts on how things might run. Well, I think that's one of the great things about this, is it gives people an opportunity to hear, one, my perspective, but also other people can chime in and give their feedback in terms of what they might have done and how they view the whole situation. Richard Young, what do you got here? It took me 12 sheets that are 22 inches by 28 inches. Whoa, that's a lot. Okay, what's that, Travis? Once I ran Losmont of Phandelver, and I did all that setup to Richard. Then my party took a video game tactic of follow the left wall. Oh, right. So your player's characters, Travis used the used the concept of trying to make their way through a maze, and so they just follow the left wall. Or you can follow the right wall and just stay with the right wall. It's a bit of a shame. It's not really sort of using their senses to figure out which way might be the best way. How did it work out anyway? See what happens, and see my aggravation. Oh my. Anyway, what can you do? The players are going to do what the players are going to do. Darren, I'll have a look next time I'm in Walmart. Yeah, well, if you are in the United States or Canada and they have a Walmart, check it out. For those of you who are in other parts of the world, my understanding is you can buy gaming paper that has the 1-inch squares printed on it, but from Amazon, I think it's kind of, I felt like it was expensive. It's fine if you were buying it in the United States or Canada, but I suspect that if you are anywhere else in the world, it would not really work out very well. Hence, trying to look for another product or another location to get it would be a better idea, or just spend hours drawing up grids. Or draw up one grid on one big piece of paper and get it photocopied in a larger size. It's the only thing I can think of. Wayne Lunsford. How's it going, Wayne? What do we got here? New DM here. Cool. I like new DMs. I like old DMs, but I really like new DMs. It shows a lot of guts to step up and do this. I naively printed out all maps on a 1-inch scale. Then I discovered, the virtual tabletop. Oh dear. Sorry to hear that, Wayne. So it was quite costly, I guess. And now you're using a digital tool rather than paper or card. Chris Collins. Dallas is on a grassy plain. Okay. No mountains or anything. Kind of flat, and it's not considered a beautiful place, really. The costs of living are okay, though, really. Okay. Oh, all right. So it's grassy plain. I kind of wondered what it was like. So it's flat, grassy plain. Do you have to deal with floods? Kind of interested in that. So it's kind of featureless. That's what you're trying to say, Chris? Is that Dallas and Texas is kind of featureless, and it's just grass plains as far as the eyes can see. Would be easy to drive over. It's not so easy to drive over a hilly green location like New Zealand. And there are mountains, but we do have beaches and other things. So it's because it's such a narrow piece of land, you have water on both sides. So it doesn't take long to get to a beach. Yes. All right. So I got it right, Chris. Okay. Cool. Understood. Perfectly. Okay. Well, don't worry. I will show you some of my country, and you can make your decision whether you like it or not, or whether you want to apply some of the things I show you to your own Dungeons and Dragons game. That's really my focus. It's also because I know a lot of people who watch my channel are dealing with quite a lot of cold weather right now, and showing you sunshine would maybe it'll boost your general outlook right now, because cold, I don't like being cold. I much prefer to be warm or hot. You can deal with hot. Humid is unpleasant, but I would prefer that than being cold and wet. Chris, well, Texas is big and it has lots of environmental types. Okay, cool. All right, good to know. Travis, what do you got here? Looking forward to the New Zealand walkabouts. Well, I'm looking forward to the New Zealand walkabouts because I normally do it every 6 months. But because I was working for retail, it wasn't possible. I just couldn't take a break. You just have to keep working and working and working. And, New Zealand used to be a very laid-back location. Nobody used to work here on a Sunday. I know that you guys might find that, like, ludicrous. But in New Zealand, there was a time where nobody worked on a Sunday. The only time you worked on a Sunday is if you worked in hospitality. And you got paid 3 times as much, if not more, than everybody else to work those kinds of shifts. Everybody else was not working. Everything was closed on a Saturday by about 12 p.m. So if a business was open on a Saturday, it was closed. It was open at about 10 and closed by 12. So there were 2 hours to get in there on the Saturday, and that was it. That includes retail. Everything was closed. And if you were in a rural area, out in the country rather than in the city, chances are nothing was open on a Saturday whatsoever at any time. So you had to pre-plan your shopping to make sure you had enough food, although the chances are you were growing stuff in your veggie garden, or you were hunting and fishing and you got your food that way. On the weekend, you didn't go to the supermarket, you went out and you went fishing or hunting, and you shot something or caught something to eat it, or you pulled something out of a veggie garden. And public holidays there are 11 public holidays in New Zealand, and there are now really only 2.5 that are observed. The rest of the population are working usually on a public holiday, which is a shame, because it kind of defeats the purpose of having a public holiday. Which means that everybody was quite laid back. You could buy your own home with one income. Somebody could say stay home. Quality of life was really good. You could enjoy living in New Zealand, going to the beach. It didn't cost you to go to the beach. There are places now that you can't go because people own the beaches, which is a terrible thing. You could go pretty much anywhere you liked without restriction. Even some of the farmland, people would go onto the farmland. You could camp on a farmer's land. You would go up to the knock on their door and say, look, do you mind if I camp there? Didn't cost you a fat thing. Those days are kind of gone now. So it's unfortunate, but that's how it is. What do we got here? Darren, send me some of that sunshine. Well, I will try, Darren, I will try. What's that, Chris? How do you handle alignment? Okay, so Chris, in terms of alignment, while I'm still here, I view alignment as a description of what the player's character is doing. So if their alignment is not representative of what the player is doing with their character, then I would tell the player, look, I'm going to shift your alignment because you are doing other things that don't really fit with that. And I usually give them like 3 strikes. If you do something that's quite significant, and I mean significant, 3 things, then I will shift alignment. I don't consider alignment a restriction on what the player is going to do with the character, because I view character development will involve alignment change and shift. That's how a character grows. So just because a character started one way does not mean they will stay that way their entire life. So that's how I deal with alignment. I don't worry about it. I don't focus on it too much. I just understand it's there as a description. There are other things to deal with that are much more interesting, in my view. I'm a new DM and I'm toying with the idea of seeing what their tier actions dictate. Not sure if that's a good idea. So there's a reason why I have not done a video on alignment, because I really don't feel that alignment is that important. It is a description as far as I'm concerned. And I mean, sometimes I will ignore alignment quite a lot, but if somebody's playing a character and it's clear that their character is evil, and they don't have that alignment, I will say, no, look, you have changed your alignment, you are definitely evil. I don't really like evil characters in my group, certainly not to start out with, but that's not to say I won't push a character in such a way that they will shift their alignment and force them into a situation where they wind up doing things that don't seem to have a good or bad outcome. That where no matter what they do, the outcome seems to be bad. I am all for moral dilemmas. So there have been characters in my party who have started good and have become bad through the use of magic items that are cursed, or their actions have been sort of, I've funneled them in that direction. And I don't blame the players for doing that. I did that. I presented that. And I think it's quite interesting. That doesn't mean that that character stayed with the party, because often when the alignment and behaviour of a character in a group changes too radically, they are ejected from that group because it doesn't function anymore. And that's fine, there's nothing wrong with that. It's all right. As long as the players understand that, it's all good. What do we got here? We've turned into a longer stream, but it's all good. It's fine. It's been a while. I know you guys are overdue for a Dungeon Master Q&A. Now, what do we got here? I'm just reading through. My eyes are starting to water, so I'm having trouble reading. Chris Collins, what do you got here? Sunday always has hospitals open. Yes, hospitals were open, that's right. I'm a nurse and work weekends and holidays, which is fine, but a drag at times. Yeah, totally understand. Yes, New Zealand is the same. The only thing you would find is the hospitals will be open, the nurses will be on duty, there will be some skeleton doctors on duty, but I don't believe they performed surgeries on a Saturday or a Sunday. I believe the surgeons in New Zealand were always only working Monday to Friday. If they have opened it up to doing weekend surgery, it would be something that has developed over time. I don't believe it does occur. I haven't heard of it anyway. Somebody will set me right if I got it wrong. Hello Wayne, how's it going? Wayne Lunsford. I've decided to not use alignment at all. All players can behave as they want at any time without penalty. Okay, this seems much more realistic to me. It seems like Wizards of the Coast is getting away from it anyway. Yeah, well, Wizards of the Coast has made it pretty clear that you can play a paladin and you do not have to have a good lawful alignment. But you do, I think what you do have to understand with playing something like a paladin, even though you might not have to abide by a particular alignment, you do have to abide by the rules and code of conduct for the type of paladin you're playing. So you could break those, and that would mean you'd wind up becoming an oath breaker. So you have to follow your oath, and if you don't follow your oath, then you have broken your tenant with your order, and therefore you fall into a different bracket. Which is why the Oathbreaker Paladin is in the Dungeon Master's Guide and not in the player's handbook, because it's something that the Dungeon Master applies to somebody playing a Paladin who breaks their oath sufficiently. Now, I wouldn't say that breaking your oath once, twice is an issue, but 3 or 4 times we're starting to see a pattern now. So that makes much more sense to me. Richard Young, how's it going? So the idol that you can find in Cragmore, yes, the idol that you can find in Cragmore Castle says you can ask it one question. Oh gosh, that idol in Cragmore Castle is such a pain. Here we go. Then that person can't use it again that day. Doesn't it seem like it's game breaking if the players realise and just pass? Look, here's the thing. You don't need to tell the players that the idol will answer one question that they have each day. They would have to come back to Cragmore Castle each day to ask a new question. I will talk about Cragmore Castle in more detail. But Richard, if you feel that they have discovered that particular pattern to the idol, and they continue to go back and ask future questions, somebody figures it out, which they shouldn't be able to figure out. I know what you're thinking. Well, what about identify? What if they cast identify on the idol? Will that tell them all that information? Well, if you want them to know that information, yes, it probably could. But if they start abusing it, as a dungeon master, you can change things. You can make the idol disappear. Will they take the idol with them or try to shrink it down and take it with them? Certainly they could, but that doesn't mean you can't change how that works. It could be that the idol breaks. It could be that the idol gets stolen. It could be that the idol loses its power because they use it so often. So and to be fair, as soon as the players start to grapple onto a pattern that looks like it's game breaking, that's the time that a dungeon master can really screw with them. Okay, you can do all sorts of things that could be quite unusual with the idol. Okay, Richard Young, the idol is idol to another each day. Yeah. Don't worry about the idol. You can fix that. You're the dungeon master. You can fix that. Darren P. Alignment really only ever mattered to paladins in previous editions. Yes, as they could lose their abilities for not behaving in a lawful good manner. Yeah, and if they don't follow the oath, then they can wind up becoming an oath breaker and their abilities will change. That's all. Chris Collins, good point on setting up a moral dilemma. Great idea. I have a whole lot of videos I'm supposed to do on moral dilemmas. I just haven't had a chance to actually present them. I've got all this stuff I have to write out, and there's just never enough time in the day. Hi Joe, how's it going? Chris, do you use a battle grid for combat only? Okay. So in other words, do I use a battle grid for something other than combat? Yes, I do. And the reason for doing that is that sometimes it's easier to use a battle grid and a map to lay things out, so it's easier for people to understand what's going on. Maybe because I want to know where they are going to step. The problem with traps located in a particular location is you're never too sure if the player has told you that the character has stepped in the location where the trap is. And so therefore laying out a map will do that. Also too, by putting out the battle grid and leaving it out, the players won't cotton on to when potentially there is a combat. Usually when you put out a battle grid, players will certainly get the signal, okay, there's going to be combat, my dungeon master has set it up, there's going to be combat. But if you leave it out and you keep drawing, they will keep assuming that there's going to be a combat. And if you keep doing it beyond that long enough, they will be desensitized to the battle grid. And suddenly when you put out the battle grid, that doesn't mean necessarily that there will be a combat. There could be a trap, there could be a combat. It could be just a better way for them to explore the location. It might be that you have plans to use it for a skill challenge. It might be to make it easier to explore the location. I use it there to supplement and help with combat, but also throw in a red herring to alleviate my players' stress over not having the battle grid, but also to wean them off the concept that they need a battle grid for combat. Because I will also, with a battle grid laid out, and I will call out combat, I will drag the mat away. And they'll say, what, don't we need to have a mat or a map? And I say, no, we don't need a map for this situation. You have decided to kill the storekeeper. He's a commoner. Fine, go for it. Let's roll initiative if you must, and we'll play it out. And usually we'll have some players trying to stop some other player from killing the shopkeeper or some NPC or whatever it is, or some monster or beast or creature. So I don't always use the battle grid for combat. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And yes, I do use the battle grid for other things. Joe, I have 2 WizKids shipments coming. I am so ready to for this next sea campaign book. Yes, by the way, yes, the new adventure is going to be a sea campaign. It sounds like it's going to be above water and below. So really cool. I love the idea. Who doesn't like pirates and being on the sea? It's like it's super exciting. It will introduce a new level of threat though, because losing the ship underneath you can wind up resulting in the whole crew and your whole party getting wiped out. Can you imagine what happens to them floating on debris on the sea? Nothing good. Nothing good. Do you remember Jaws? Jaws don't want to be on the sea. No, it's bad. Okay, all right. So what do you got here? Coming out, yes, that campaign book. I'm really looking forward to it too. I've been working on a ton of overtime. So I've been splurging on myself and my adventuring party. We'll post pics. Yeah, let me see it, Joe, on the HowtoDandD Facebook group. It's the only place that you guys can really sort of share stuff with everybody else. So if you don't know about it, I do have a Facebook group called HowtoDandD. We are a community. We share stuff, and that's the place to sort of share images, pictures, video, ideas. I put a lot of my behind-the-scenes stuff there. And I finally got my Twitch TV channel up and running again. But it will only be streaming the combat, nothing else. So they'll be quite short. They won't be very long. Because the guys don't really want their faces on the camera, so I've done it that way for a reason. You're just going to see the miniatures being moved around on a grid. And you'll be able to hear everything and see dice being rolled, but that's about it. I still feel that watching somebody else play Dungeons and Dragons is a waste of your time. And you should be just playing the game, or prepping for the game, or doing something else with your life. That's just my view anyway. Chris, I am planning to draw the Goblin Cave as they explore it, fog of war kind of things. Yep, I tend to draw my maps out as I go, rather than do them in advance. Sometimes I do, but very rarely do I do that. Usually I draw them as I go. Darren, those shipments are sweet. So I have ordered the new Dungeons and Dragons Tactical Maps pack. There's 20 maps in it, so I have ordered it. I've placed an order with the book depository. I'm waiting for that. It's free shipping for me in New Zealand, so it's going to be cheaper than doing it through Amazon. So I've done that. I've gone through that process. I'm really looking forward to it. This essentially means that where my channel was before all of my maps got stolen, I get to go back to where I was. Almost back to where I was. Not completely, because a lot of character miniatures got stolen, so you'll notice the character miniatures in my videos tend to be pretty much the same ones, but what do you do? Darren P. At Chris, previous editions had the players draw the map while the DM gave descriptions of the dungeons. Yes, that's right. Yes, you had to as a player, and I had to do that with Dungeons and Dragons 3.5. We had to draw maps to try and figure out. The description from the Dungeon Master was sometimes really confusing, and our maps looked terrible. It didn't make any sense, and we got so lost. I think eventually we just wound up giving the map to the Dungeon Master, and he would redraw sections for us. I know my players did it for Dungeons and Dragons 4E, and after a while it became clear to me that I was better off just drawing the maps myself. It's not like they wouldn't know the general location and where things were. It's just, from description it's hard to get an idea visually, but there's nothing wrong with doing it that way. If you don't want to draw the maps for the players can do it. It's their job. Chris Collins, Jaws, yes, Jaws. Dun 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 dun. It's a great movie. Oh, I should watch that tonight. I'm actually going to go and see the new movie, Alita Battle Angel with my mum. because I just like watching movies and it's playing, and so I'm going to go and see it. I don't know if it's any good. I'll let you know. Darren P, that's an idea. An idea too. I may do it. Yep. Darren has lots of really good ideas, by the way. It's a shame that Aaron's not around, but I imagine he's working or busy. What else? Richard Young, you don't like Critical Role then? That's not true. I have been watching Critical Role like a madman. I guess I have been actually watching more Critical Role, but I can't watch as much as I would like because, look, I'm working full time and I'm doing the YouTube channel. And if you do a YouTube channel, there is so much work involved. For every edited video that is about 3 minutes long, that's relatively simple. So 3 minutes of edited video on YouTube is 10 hours work. That's 10 hours. That's planning, shooting, editing, uploading, and I'm not counting the time to upload, but I mean just doing the process of uploading it and then walking away. I'm not counting the walking away time. All of the metadata and all of the other stuff that goes with it, there's a lot of work. So I don't get as much time to watch that as I would like. But I have been watching Matthew Colville and his live streams. His stuff feels much more like the kinds of games that I play, but it doesn't make great watching. It's actually his video diaries are much more entertaining. I think Matthew Colville, when he's talking and the way that he edits his videos together, it's like a magnet. It sucks you in, which is why his channel does so well and why he is considered to be on YouTube and the internet one of the best dungeon masters out there. What I love about Matthew Colville, and I've been noticing that Matt Mercer has been doing the same thing. He has been shaking things up, but Matthew Colville has been breaking a lot of the rules that he has been talking about. He presents a lot of videos as these are beginner methods. These are for beginner dungeon masters. But he's not dungeon mastering like a beginner because he's not a beginner dungeon master, and he's not dealing with new players. And I think that's actually really, really cool. And I would encourage you to explore things, particularly if you're not a new dungeon master. It's a bit scary to go out on the extreme or try new things when you're a new dungeon master. Just do what you can. Just get through the session and try to have fun and have your players have fun. But I do watch a lot of stuff. A lot of the channels, including my own, I feel like are doing pretty much the same thing. And I don't know about you, but I've been getting quite bored. So I've been finding it really hard to watch a lot of that content. I've been watching a lot of history on YouTube. Old history, aliens, ancient civilizations. I've been watching a lot of that. So I do watch Critical Role, and I do enjoy watching it. But there's so much live stream stuff out there of games being played. Okay, what else? Travis Porter. Oof. So that new Wizards shipment, what's that? Oh my God, $250. I was hoping it came out to $60 or $80. Would have to guarantee it's a ship-based game at the price point. Oh my God, that is so much money. That is scary. I pre-ordered for $200. $200? Is the new adventure going to be $200 for some and $250 for others? Oh my gosh, that is way too much. How is anybody, unless you're like an accountant or you got a high-end job, how are you supposed to pay for that? Graveyard Grog, how's it going, Graveyard Grog? Long time no see. Nice to see you live. It's good to have people in the chat box live. And I don't know if you have noticed, but there is a level of stress that has gone from me. I am so much more chilled out than I was before. My ulcers will have an opportunity to heal. Ha ha ha! Ha ha ha! Okay, what have we got here? Joe. Yes, they are very expensive, but I'm sure the price will double, just like all their other premium products. Yeah. I'm trying really hard to get WizKids to send me stuff, but I'm a little bit concerned that even though they said they would, that it would take a really long time, or they've decided I'm too much trouble because I'm in New Zealand, and it's easier. I mean, to be fair, they could send their stuff to Nerd Immersion or Nerdarchy or any of those smaller channels, or even the bigger channels, and it wouldn't cost them very much to do so, and it would probably get more views. So yeah, yes, I'm hoping that my opportunity to actually do more WizKids videos will occur, but I'm just not too sure. What else we got here? Graveyard. What do you got here? Graveyard grog. Never dried. Oh, never DM'd before and jumped right in. Curse of Strahd. Oh my gosh. Really? Graveyard grog. You jumped in as a new DM into Curse of Strahd. That is rough. Your players were probably new, right? Oh my gosh, your first adventure was with Curse of Strahd. Brutal. Brutal. You are brave. You are so brave. Dear. Darren Grog, now there's a trial by fire. Yes, yeah, Darren, absolutely, definitely. Curse of Strahd is a trial by fire. All of my pet peeves about character death are well and truly gone. I have no qualms about character death. I just don't worry about it anymore. It cured me completely. You know, if you had any sort of the characters must start at level 1 if they have a character die, and they must build a new character if they can't bring it back with their own spells and magic. It'll be completely cured after running Curse of Strahd. Dear. Graveyard grog, haha. It is. We have been at it for about a year. Yeah, a year now, and it's going great. I found it took me just over a year playing for about 2 or 3 hours once a week. And they were insistent on doing everything. The only thing they didn't do was explore the whole of Ravenloft Castle, because somebody demolished it with about 12 giant apes, as it happens. Yes, I'm looking at you, Cure Woodland Creatures. That spell got used to demolish the castle. Dear. Graveyard, what do you got here? Our last session was one of our best sessions ever. Yeah, I found the sessions just got better and better. Joe, no, it's a ship miniature. Oh, ship miniature. Oh, right. Oh, the ship miniature, not a shipment. Okay, now I understand. I didn't have the guts to ask Wizards of the Coast to send me the ship. I thought that was asking too much, so you'll never see it on a video that I do. And I have no space for the ship anyway, so maybe I'll make one. Maybe I'll make one. Maybe I'll just draw one on a piece of paper. I suppose it doesn't look quite as cool. Joe, what do you got here? It's called the Falling Starship by WizKids. Check it out on YouTube. There are 2 box openings. Yes, okay, I will. I'll do that. I have plenty of time now. Graveyard, what do you got here? We have our, what's that? We have our 50 hours put in, and they are burning down the northeastern section of Vallaki. What happened to my players in Vallaki in the Curse of Strahd? I believe the entire township got wiped out by vampire spawn. and the town was really a ruin. And my party got wiped. Yes. Yep. We will get back to the Curse of Strahd one day. We will certainly do a DM guide on the Curse of Strahd because it's one of my favourite adventures. I love it so much. Okay. Kiwi, how's it going, Kiwi? Played Lost Mine of Phandelver. How do I explain the Red Wizard of Thay to my players? What's the deal with the doppelgangers? Oh gosh. I know I need to do a video on doppelgangers. Use the doppelgangers to infiltrate and collect information for Nesna the Black Spider. I will do a video on the doppelgangers, okay? But that's what I would suggest you do. Use the doppelgangers to collect information, infiltrate anywhere you like to collect information for Nesna the Black Spider. That's my suggestion to you. As for the Red Wizards of Thay, jump onto Jordan, that YouTube channel. I'm subscribed to him. He has plenty of information on Faerun, and there should be some information on the Red Wizards of Thay. I believe that AJ Pickett, who lives in New Zealand too, his YouTube channel has a video on the Red Wizards of Thay. I have a video on Harmon Cost, who is a Red Wizard, and it covers a lot of that information. You're welcome to go and check that out. It's in the playlist called Lost Mine of Phandelver DM Guide, and you'll find Harmon Cost, who is a Red Wizard, and I cover some of those issues there. Okay. Joe, are you still planning on doing so? Yeah, I am still planning on doing a video on the doppelgangers for the Lost Mine of Phandelver, and I am still planning on doing the Curse of Strahd. But when I say I'm going to do something, you got to understand I have like 1,000 ideas, and there are only 350 so days in the year, and only so much of my time I can put into this. And so when I say I'm going to do it, it could be this year, it could be next year, it could be the year after. I have no idea. It really comes down to if suddenly I had a trillion comments saying, Fred, we want a video on the Curse of Strahd in the comment section or in the chat box, then I would start changing my view of what to do next. But I still feel the Lost Mine of Phandelver has still got plenty of it's got plenty of places to go. It's hugely played, so I really feel like, because nobody else is doing these things, I don't know what. Look, it's such a searched statement. Lost Mine of Phandelver on YouTube, it's searched, and why am I one of the only channels doing videos on this topic? Jordan did a video just recently on the Lost Mine of Phandelver. Go and check it out. But they don't cover the things they need to. And I know why. It's because of all the research required. There's a lot of research, and you have to run the adventure to be able to talk to it. And I've run the adventure more than once. Yeah, that's what's going on there. Joe, Graveyard. You should check out our live stream on YouTube, Drink for Initiative. We'll see how we go, Graveyard. I have a lot of people who keep chucking links to their videos and Amazon sites on the comments, and I just don't have time to check everything out. I do try, but sometimes it's just not possible. But yeah, my suggestion to you is I'm much more likely to check it out if you put it on the Facebook group. If you put the link on Facebook and talk a little bit about it, I'm much more likely to check it out. I'm less likely to check it out if people put it, because what happens is YouTube will flag that video and hold it for approval, and then I've got to decide whether I have time to get to it. Joe, do something Out of the Abyss. I want to do Out of the Abyss. At some point I want to do Out of the Abyss. I want to finish the Lost Mine of Phandelver, and I want to talk about all those really cool characters in Out of the Abyss, because I think they're just wonderful. And I'm really excited to do that. That's not to say that I don't want to do characters out of the Curse of Strahd, because I certainly do, but I feel like so many of the characters out of the Abyss are just melt in your mouth. As a DM, they just melt in your mouth. They're that cool. Chris, well, check it out, Graveyard Grog. Yeah, well, hopefully somebody else will. Love the name of the channel, haha. Yeah, it's a pretty good name. Awesome. I'll do that. Yeah, do that. Because remember, I do actually follow around Facebook. Just don't try to flick me a friend request. It's just, as I've got so many people throwing me friend requests, unless I have enough of a dialogue with somebody for long enough, I usually don't do it. Graveyard Grog. Out of the Abyss is going to be our next adventure. Okay, cool. I played the first part of it and was really bummed, but I feel like it has lots of potential. Kiwi, thank you. Subscribed from Texas. Cool. Thank you very much. So I have a question. Kiwi, are you a Kiwi born in New Zealand who moved to Texas? Or is it the name Kiwi is just an accident? I'm kind of curious, because most people in New Zealand, as a general rule, don't refer to themselves as a New Zealander so much, or even a Pakeha or European. Sometimes they might refer to themselves as Maori, but often we refer to ourselves as Kiwi, after the flightless bird. So I consider myself a Kiwi. I will go with New Zealander. I don't really like the other ones myself, because it doesn't make sense to me at all. Graveyard Grog. What is the Facebook group called? HowtoDandD. As it happens, HowtoDandD. Just type that in. You'll find the link. It's in the about section of my YouTube channel. It's there, so you can find it. Wayne, what do you got here? Fred, in Wave Echo Cave, what should I do if my players want to explore the large water cavern where the echo is actually coming from? How can I explain this area? So that watery area in Wave Echo Cave is I would say the route to your next adventure. And I would say that watery area probably has, if they go far enough, a passageway or a ledge that leads them down into the Underdark, allowing you to open up your adventure to Out of the Abyss, or an adventure taking place in the Underdark or underground, or let it open up and take them to Waterdeep and the halls of Undermountain. Why not? Could be just a really long passage leading there. So that's what I would suggest you do. Indicate that it's sort of a continuation. If they get there, they're ready to move on to the next adventure just about anyway. The chances are that adventuring around Phandalin is no longer going to hold any interest. They will have exhausted that location. So you're ready to move them on into real dungeon delving, real cave exploration. Does that answer your question, Wayne? If it doesn't, you let me know, but I'm really trying hard to answer that question as best I can. And how do you explain the area? Well, it's a dark, watery grotto, really. So does that answer your question? You let me know. Kiwi is completely accidental. Laugh out loud. Hey, oh, that's Kiwi. Why not? Now I know. Accidental. For a second there, I thought you were a New Zealander. A Kiwi. Just thought I'd put that in there. Graveyard Grog. Oh my god, I'm stupid. I typed how to DM. No, D&D. Laugh out loud. Hey, it's all cool, man. Don't worry about it. Just subbed Grog. Hey Grog, I think your subs are gonna pump up a little bit. I think there's a few people who are gonna jump in and check your stuff out by the looks. Chris Collins, what do you got here? I need to check out of the Abyss. All I have for pre-built stuff is Lost Mine of Phandelver and Curse of Strahd. Look, going from the Lost Mine of Phandelver and then going into the Curse of Strahd is, to me, it's not a natural progression, but it's a natural progression in terms of playing the game. Does that make sense? For a dungeon master, I think it is a natural progression. The problem is your players are going to want to continue playing the same characters. For me, I ended my campaign with Lost Mine of Phandelver at level 5. And this is quite common. You will play to level 5 or level 6 or 7, 8, 9, 10 and then stop and start a new campaign. You can do that. It's perfectly fine. The flavour of Curse of Strahd works best if you start at level 1, I feel. If you start at a higher level, which you can do, I feel like you will find that it will lose some of the impact. You can really scare the bejesus out of players, not their characters, because you're aiming for the players. Really, that's the key. Get an emotional response. Curse of Strahd is a great adventure to follow from Lost Mine of Phandelver, but just start at level 1. That's my suggestion to you. I do have a video on what's the next adventure after Lost Mine of Phandelver. So if you want to check that out, you can. It's in the playlist for Lost Mine of Phandelver DM Guide. Kiwi, what do you got here? What if my players want to go to Neverwinter City or another site on the map that isn't listed in the DM book? Well, that's fine. Well, you can do that. Why not? Just let them go somewhere else. There is so much information on Faerun. You do not need a book to be able to run a campaign in Faerun or the Forgotten Realms. You can Google it and you will find so much information. What's that, Chris? Here we go. I'll check out the playlist, Fred. You are awesome. Thank you. You are welcome. I knew I needed to do the video on what's the next adventure after Lost Mine of Phandelver because it got asked. People used to ask it all the time. Okay, all right, let's keep going. I'm almost out of I'm almost going to lose my voice. Wayne, good. Finally, now I need to see how well I did with Wayne. Thanks. The answer my question. Okay, that answered my question. I've got to be careful now because my daughter is one of the players and she just walked into the room. Laugh out loud. Okay, all right. Minimize the screen. Darren P. Lots of the free maps and stuff for Neverwinter Online, Kiwi. And also don't be afraid to wing it and make it your own. Yes. There's no reason why you can't. There is so much information out there and there's no reason why you can't just make stuff up. You know, things change. Move the timeline forward. You know, you can have a wave of energy pass through and suddenly everything changes around the player's characters but not the player's characters. You can do anything you like. Remember, it's a fantasy game. It is not supposed to be based on real world mechanics. Nobody showed up to play Dungeons and Dragons to have anything to do with the real world. Okay, and if they did, I think they have missed the point. What's that? Yes. Okay, look, guys, I have to go. Last drink. Now, as for tomorrow, I have to get my job stuff sorted out. That does not mean that I won't be online tomorrow, but I don't know when. I have to get my paperwork sorted out. I have to get my contract signed. And that's really important to me. Have to make that happen. And my due date is tomorrow. So that means that I will probably do some videos on crafting and so forth that I would normally do tomorrow, either later in the day, which means nobody will be awake, or I will do one the following day, and probably not at a regular time. But a week from now, I will try to keep a couple of days where I can live stream at a time when it's possible for you guys to watch, rather than watch the replay. Okay? All right. Okay, Kiwi, thanks. Is there a way to smoothly transition from Lost Mine of Phandelver to Tomb of Annihilation? I believe I did discuss that in the video, what's the next adventure after Lost Mine of Phandelver. So if you look for my playlist on the Lost Mine of Phandelver, I do talk about the Tomb of Annihilation, and suggest some options. So you are welcome to check them out. Off the top of my head, my brain is gone. I'm so hot. I feel like I'm melting. I'm melting, and I need to go. Travis, appreciate it. You're welcome, Travis. No problem. Chris, thanks for the live chat. Very cool of you, and always a pleasure. Hey, do you know the live streams is my most favorite part of this YouTube channel? It's always the most favorite part, and the chat about characters that don't involve game rules is the best bit. I understand why AJ loves doing monster ecology videos, talking about monster ecology. I totally get it. I don't do monster ecology so much as I've been doing a lot of character stuff recently. Wayne, thanks Fred, very helpful. See you next time. Yep, absolutely, see you next time. Darren, cheers Fred, thanks for the chat. Have a great weekend, everyone. I think that goes for me too, to everybody. You guys have a great morning, afternoon, evening, night, whatever it is. If it's late and early in the morning, go to bed. If it's early in the morning. Look after yourself, look after your family, and I'll see you later.